In this video, I'm going to share with you what slip-up caused Jessa Dillow Crisp to finally be discovered, caused me to jump up from my bed and run to my computer, and what started the ball rolling to instigate the production of this video series, and a new development that has happened since I began this series. When I first started investigating Shiny Happy People Duggar Family Secrets, an Amazon Prime anti-Christian and homeschooling documentary, I came upon the 2016 lawsuit filed against the Institute in Basic Life Principles and Bill Gothard. This organization is the same one the famous Duggar family of 19 kids and counting is involved with. I started researching the stories in this lawsuit, and if you don't know about that, there's a lot of information about it on the Shiny Slander YouTube channel. But in my research, I came upon a trailer for a documentary called Until the Truth. This trailer had clips of lots of the plaintiffs telling the same stories they told in the lawsuit, which were all based on repressed memories. As I watched the trailer, I recognized each of the women. But as I kept watching it, I realized there was one woman that I could not identify. I took a screenshot of her and started asking around to those who knew the other plaintiffs. Who was this woman? Nobody seemed to be able to identify her by her picture, and the trailer gave little information. So I just put her picture up on my computer screen and figured I would get back to it once I had looked into the other stories of the plaintiffs that I could already identify. Then one day in August of this year, I was relaxing in my bed, looking at my phone, and a reel came up on an app I was looking at. It was a black and white video with a woman talking on it. I looked at it and thought, this looks like that woman I couldn't identify. So I ran into my office at the other end of the house to look at the picture on my screen. It had been there for nearly 2 years. It was this woman. Now I knew this woman was probably one of the Jane Does in the lawsuit. So I started eliminating the plaintiffs in my mind one by one. I realized she was not in the third complaint that was filed with the court. That's the one I had been researching most. Eventually I realized she was in the first complaint and had dropped out before the second one was even filed. This was the only woman who had claimed Bill Gothard raped her. Although that claim is thrown around a lot when people are talking about Bill Gothard and his alleged abuses. It was Jessa Crisp. Jessa was Jane Doe number 2. To confirm this, I started searching through her social media posts to see if the lawsuit was ever mentioned. Sure enough, she mentioned it one time and confirmed that she was a Jane Doe in the 2016 lawsuit. Now I knew it was her, and I could start to research her particular story. This was the slip-up that caused Jessa to be discovered. Being in the Until the Truth documentary trailer is how I put 2 and 2 together. As soon as I started researching, my mouth dropped open. My eyes became wider and wider, and my breath stopped. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing. This woman seemed to be so abused by so many people for so long and in so many places. What was this all about? Her stories were so horrific, extreme, and unimaginable, it was hard to take them all in. Because her claims were based on the foundation that she was sex trafficked by her parents up to age 21. There's no mention of repressed memories. So I started to look into her background. Very soon, I could see her stories did not add up at all, and I started to realize that none of her tales could possibly be true. As I showed in video 2 of this series, the circumstances of her background were totally opposite of the tales she was telling. They simply did not match at all. As I listened to more and more interviews, speeches, and articles, and etc., I started to list all of her allegations, made a timeline, and laid it all out together just to see. And then I realized her story can't be true. But what about all these people, agencies, organizations, media entities, Christian churches, and etc.? She's been lying to all of them all this time, and no one ever checked out her story or her background? How could that be? Then I decided before I continued, I needed to make sure someone who knew her could verify what I was discovering and that what seemed very clear was actually true. What if I did all this, saw all this evidence, and somehow I missed something? Even though just looking at all of the evidence showed this can't have happened logistically, circumstantially, and with documents I already had, I needed to hear the truth from a family member or maybe one or two others that knew her at some point when she was growing up. I eventually got in contact with an insider in the family who confirmed to me that this did not happen, and Jessa had been lying all this time. She nor any of her siblings were ever sex trafficked by their parents. Her parents were good people and were devastated by her making all these slanderous claims in public. I continued to investigate and found that those who knew her when she was younger and before she had flown to Denver in 2009 said Jessa had been known for making up stories and lying for attention. And none said they ever saw any kind of abuse or remnants of it or evidence of any kind of abuse happening to her when she was growing up. In fact, she was enrolled in a homeschool program, played the cello, and had a good family very involved in the Christian community with lots of siblings who also played stringed instruments. I hope you can all understand my position at that point. Now, what was I to do with all of this information? I am in possession of information that someone has been collecting funds from the public and nonprofit organizations, charities, and businesses for many years under what the evidence shows is false pretenses. I'm aware that a woman who, when applying common sense, in my opinion, clearly has to have some deep psychological problems, and yet she's now in the position of counseling real trauma victims and is about to get a PhD in counseling from Denver Seminary. I'm aware that this woman is presenting herself as a lived experience expert in the field of child sex trafficking and conducting trainings to government and non-government agencies about this subject under what seems to be very clearly false pretenses. I'm aware that this woman has been involved in studies about sex trafficking that surely would skew the outcome of the studies because the evidence shows that she's being deceptive about her own experiences. And I'm aware that she and her husband had a nonprofit organization called Bridge Hope that collected well over $130,000 based on her story, and to develop an app to help sex trafficked individuals, and that this organization had its nonprofit status revoked. And as far as I can tell, there's no app in existence associated with the Bridge Hope organization, which is the reason they collected all that money. Maybe they tried to get one set up and it didn't work out. That is certainly possible and could have happened. I'm aware that this woman has been used by the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of State, the Department of Education to train them on sex trafficking subjects, and has given speeches and interviews for the Air Force Academy, was featured on Dr. Dobson's Family Talk program, the Christian Broadcast Network's 700 Club, People magazine, and many, many more entities, and according to her, was assigned to be a board member of an anti-sex trafficking task force by the governor of Colorado. What am I supposed to do with all this information? The other problem I had was my concern for Jessa herself. She has built her entire life with these stories as the foundation. Her marriage, her friends, her employment, her academic career, her church associations, all are based on her story of sex trafficking by her parents that, as far as the evidence shows, never happened. At what point are all these people going to find out that she's been deceiving them for all these years? And how will they react? What will that do to Jessa? And how will she become free from this life of deception? My first hope was to reach Linda Dillow and see if I could give her this information, and possibly she would work with me to remedy this problem and help Jessa at the same time. The absolute best outcome would be that Jessa would be confronted, admit the deception, and do the right thing herself. Then I would not have to expose her at all. But Linda refused to even look at the evidence I had. She was not interested in even considering it or looking at what I had found. Plus, she was not involved with Jessa anymore. They had had a falling out, so that door closed rather quickly. I don't want to reveal some of the other ways I tried to garner some support for Jessa before I figured her life would begin to implode, but suffice it to say, I did try to do so in several ways before I posted this series. I certainly was concerned about her state of mind, and I was not sure how she would react to being discovered. But all my attempts were unsuccessful, including trying to reach out to Jessa herself and her husband. Neither of them responded to my request to discuss all of this evidence I have found. Since I started this series, there has been a new development. Jessa had a lawyer send me a cease and desist letter trying to convince me that I was making false statements and doing so knowingly. The problem she has, though, is I'm not making false statements and have overwhelming evidence to show what I'm saying is true. I also gave her the chance to show me any evidence to prove that I am mistaken and let her know that I'm totally open to seeing any and all evidence she can show me. She has so far produced none at all. My original plan about this series was to produce 10 videos, which would have made the next one the last. But now that Jessa has decided to push the envelope further by getting a lawyer involved, this series may have more in it than I had originally planned, so that I can keep you updated on how far she will go with this. Of course, if she does end up providing any credible evidence at all to support her claims of abuse and sex trafficking by her parents, or even other claims of witnessing a murder, abuse by police officers, or trafficking out of the Indianapolis Training Center, among other claims, I will certainly let you know. Next time, after a discussion with a dear friend and after listening to a sermon by Billy Graham, I realized I was very wrong about something related to this story. I will reveal what that was in the next video. Please remember to like, share, and comment below. Your interaction in this way helps to spread these videos to more people. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you here next time.